I asked you guys for suggestions for the new studio, and you threw me stuff like this. And then stuff like this. And I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this. Do you think I got that much game under my belt? That's too much dussy for one man. But your boy 3C is moving up in the world after 3 long months of a temporary set, then finally moving into homes. I have built the 3C Studio. I looked at a lot of your guys' suggestions, and man, did you guys have some awesome ones. Some of y'all really took your time and created quite masterful works of art. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a studio with a built-in toilet? Like, can you imagine me telling you the latest Superman news and then I'm taking a piss right there for you? It's a dream. While others suggested I had a goth face. Really, I loved a lot of what you guys submitted, and I looked at all of them, and I cherry-picked the best stuff into what I think best makes a new studio. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys, is I'll be creating the new 3C Studio, going step by step, giving you an insight into my mind and why I decided to choose certain things to be the way they are. But as I'm going through this video, there's one thing I want to make clear. This video isn't to show off. It's not to make you think you need all this stuff to make YouTube content, because you don't. This is what I started out with 3C Films, okay? I just had the current iPhone, which still had the home button on it. Dang, I missed that home button. A couple of $50 lights I found off Amazon, and the laptop I borrowed from my friend, which is the same friend that helped me build this set. Thanks, Roberto. And I really didn't know if anything would come from making YouTube videos. I mean, this was me in my $500 apartment as a starving college student, as you could tell from that awesome jawline I used to have. But I got evicted from that place because I could no longer afford my $500 a month rent, moved back in with my parents, which is what was happening here. Then after finding another stable 9-to-5 job, I moved into an apartment, still stuck with creating content and hoping something would come from it. And sure enough, it did, to the point that I was able to move into a home, which is the videos I was making in this set, my very first home from YouTube money. And now I made it to this. I'm not the type to do a house tour, but man, try it. If I could do this, you certainly can too. So now with that said, let me bring you into the room I decided to make the new 3C Studio. This is what made me fall in love with this house, because as soon as I saw this room, I just thought of all the ideas and crazy things I could do in it. So I decided to position the camera in a way that would just maximize the layout of the room and also just highlight its unique shape. And once the camera position was figured out, it was just time to paint the room, get my chair in there, put my desk, and begin. That's much better. So of course, I went back to my classic gray. I went a little lighter than the previous studio. I know you can't really tell all that well right now because these windows. Some of y'all were suggesting I leave the windows open and have some natural light in here. You don't know the cave dweller I am. No natural light ever, plus messes with the camera like right now. So let's actually take care of that right now. And just like that, I have way more control of the lighting that peeps into this room thanks to some black film I found on Amazon. Just put it onto the windows. And I know what you're thinking. Holy crap, Chris, this might actually look worse. What did you do? Well, that's only because right now I'm using the light that comes in this room. You almost never want to use your ceiling light to light up your studio. Makes the room look like super orange because this is a warm light. So I need to get rid of that and put on the studio lights. Woo! Now things are actually looking professional and up to YouTube studio quality. So for the longest time in the previous studio, I was using these $50 lights that came from Amazon. It was $50 for both lights, and they did the job for the longest time, but I did hate how much room they took up in the studio being on tripods. There was also no control on how bright or how dim I could get those lights. So now moving into this studio, I decided to upgrade the lights to a brand called Newer. These really caught my eye because not only could I control the temperature of these lights, go from warm to cool lighting. They also have a lot of pre-built-in effects, so I can mimic like a storm happening in the studio. That would be good for like the Halloween season. They have a police setting, so I can mimic cops coming into the studio. I can even change the color of the lights to whatever I'd like some red. But probably the biggest selling point for me is that they were selling wall mounts for the lights, so I no longer had to deal with tripods on the floor taking up the space of the precious studio. And since we're on the subject of technology, this is kind of what my POV looks like when I record videos. I have a monitor that's on a wall mount. It's connected to a Mac Mini, and this is what I'm looking at when I'm reading articles, reacting to trailers, or looking at some set photo leaks. But okay, moving on to the next thing. Although I'm glad I got rid of the light peeking through those windows, I still don't want to leave it that way. I want to put up a nice red curtain, because one, red's my favorite color, and red curtains just remind me of the movies. So let me go ahead and get that taken care of right now. Oh, yeah, baby. Come on. I was actually kind of worried the red curtain wouldn't look right, but ooh, it is shining perfect. But now continuing on with the rest of the set, these nice creative lines, I thought they could be emphasized in an interesting way, and even one of you guys suggested it in one of your ideas for my studio, putting on some LED light strips. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, that was way more time consuming than I thought it was gonna be. I honestly don't even know if I love it or I think I overdid it a little bit. So let me explain what I did. So you can obviously see I went with the strip lights. I just like the way it kind of defines the new weird shape of the set. My first idea with this was to go like red lights on the top, blue lights on the bottom, but something about LED strips, they don't exactly read red on camera. So like if this is what I did, that kind of looks orangey to me. Doesn't really look red, right? Looks like a hint of orange. Well, let me turn this off. See there, it like definitely looks orange, not red, and I am hitting the red button. And I thought if I went all blue, it's just a little too much blue, although I think it does look great. So I just compromised and went with white everywhere. Gives it a nice clean sheen. But because I still want red and blue colors, which I think identify my channel, I have these floodlights. I think they look really nice in creating that red and blue color I want part of my set. So yeah, I think I am pretty happy with this, but maybe I'm overdoing it. The next step here is I gotta fill in this space, man. I don't like that emptiness there, so let's get to that. And now, baby, we got ourselves a lovely couch. Come here. Let's see if you want to be part of 3C. This space was big enough that it could be one where I fit. You know, making videos on YouTube is my therapy, so it all began with my father. But okay, with that set up now, I definitely have something special I'll put in that corner. The cliche but cool arcade one-up machine to be put there for decoration and never to be played. I kind of dug that. Kai Cenat has one, and he got Kevin Hart. Put this bad boy in. Kevin Hart's coming here. It looks cool, and I'm happy with it. I actually did play it a couple of times. It's got Galaga. That's the real one I like. But the yellow on the Pac-Man machine, it just pops. It adds some flavor to the room, so I really like that. But now with those two kind of big pieces inside the room, it's time for some shelving to get in some of that mini decor. So let me get started on that. So many freaking holes! But I did it. So to walk you through what I decided to do here on this set, I put up these black shelves on both sides just for a bit of symmetry. One thing I kind of wanted to do differently this time around that I was never really great at with my previous sets is not to over cram things. I just want to put in as many collectible statues or things that remind me of my favorite movies, but then it just always ends up looking a little too messy sometimes. So I limited myself in the amount of shelf space. I still also wanted to make sure to put up my Back to the Future hoverboard. I got that clamped on with some hooks I found in Walmart. And although it's kind of hard to tell, especially from this distance, right above the Pac-Man machine, I put my Kong battle axe in there because it's still one of my favorite things I was able to purchase from making videos on YouTube. I was really hoping I was going to be able to put my Captain America shield over this window right here, but I guess I underestimated how big my shield is in comparison to that window. It did not cover it up at all, but I did see some of you guys suggesting that I should put it in that corner, and it actually I think looks kind of nice. I'm still just kind of puzzled on what the heck I'm gonna put in that small window. I also definitely want to mention, with the beauty of editing, this is going so smoothly, but it is a pain leveling these shelves, making sure they hold enough weight. Like, this is taking several days to make. Don't think I'm doing this all in the span of an evening like I thought I was gonna be able to do. But with that down now, it's time for one of the more fun parts of this video that I've really been looking forward to. What's going on these shelves? Let's begin with starting on the right and working our way around. All right, let's set up the table. Highly recommend a stand-up moving desk. They come super in handy for whenever I need to unbox or unpackage things like what I'm about to do right now. Get ready to take a picture. Your boy has upgraded. I still enjoy me collecting a Funko Pop here and there. I'm mainly sticking to collecting the horror pops, but it's time I upgraded to Hot Toys. And for the very first shelf, one of the first things you'll see when you click on a YouTube video has to be my boy Toby and his trilogy. That's right, son. I said trilogy. I got here Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, and Spider-Man fighting Sandman Let me just unbox these and show these to you right up front. I cannot believe how freaking amazing these look. Look at the Goblin on his glider, Spider-Man fighting Sandman, Dr. Octopus standing by his tentacles. Okay, I understand why people trash on Funko Pops when this is around. Now for the scary part, transferring them to the shelf and hoping they look awesome. And I know some of you might be thinking, I don't know if red is the right choice for those figures there. Well, I had something in mind for that second shelf where red lighting, I think, was very crucial. Alfred, cue the music. Something in the way. Once you got the Hot Toys bug, it's just over for you, man. But I'm gonna try my best to limit myself to no more Hot Toys, although those Deadpool and Wolverine ones do look pretty sweet. So let me go get Alfred to open this. Thank you, Alfred. I cannot stress how gorgeous this dang thing looks in person. I was very excited for the Spider-Man trilogy, and don't get me wrong, those are also gorgeous figures, but this is on another freaking level. Now, as awesome as this piece is, I did think it was gonna feel a little empty just on the shelf there. I so badly wanted to get the Batmobile, but that thing is huge. So huge it would not fit on that shelf, so I had to go with the next best thing. Christmas came early, Alfred. The Bat Cycle. And there we have it. So let's go ahead and... You lied to me, Alfred. And put this on that shelf. Okay, so believe it or not, it has been 2 days since I last recorded that, and in those 2 days, I have just been overthinking the entire layout. I'm gonna try not to be too boring with the details and the technical stuff, but I definitely bit off way more than I could chew with this set. I just had it envisioned a certain way in my mind, and I'm trying so hard to get it exactly the way I thought, but I'm having to come back down to reality and realize I need to calm down. So first of all, I thought I wanted red lighting over here just because that's where I was gonna put the Batman Hot Toys, and you know, the red lights part of that movie, just so significant, but it was just also really taking away from the Spider-Man figures and creating this giant shadow I wasn't happy with. So I thought to combat that shadow is I would get, you know, some shelf lightings, kind of similar to what I had in the previous set. So I was messing around with that a couple of times, then I was realizing, man, the figures look so blurry on camera. So then I was messing with the camera settings to make sure I was bright enough to be seen, the background wasn't as blurry. Plus, I'm also really scared if I continue to add lights to every single shelf where I'm gonna have something, I'm just gonna blow a fuse and this place is gonna go but I just need to move forward. I have been spending too much time trying to tweak and perfect this set that I haven't made any content for a week, and you guys are starting to message me, where the heck are you? I need to remind myself nobody is gonna care that much about the set other than myself. If you're just making enjoyable content, they care much more about that than looking at what appears to be an expensive electricity bill. So I gotta get over it. But to move on now, there is a shelf right behind me below that Back to the Future hoverboard. I am so excited to add this prop to my set. One sec. Boys and girls, the Back to the Future DeLorean. That first Back to the Future is not only my favorite movie of all time, it is the movie that made me fall in love with cinema. I saw that thing as a kid and I was like, I want to do that. I want to create the magic I just witnessed. So when thinking of things I definitely wanted to the set, this was like on top of the list, big priority. Let me just open this up. I knew this thing was gonna be big, but in person, it is ginormous. This is my favorite car of all the cinema. The DeLorean is just iconic. One day I'd like to own one, but I hear they're super unreliable cars. So maybe I'll just count owning this as checking off that bucket list item. But I also had to go with the model from the second movie, specifically because of this base, which by the way, I can turn it into hover mode. But like I mentioned earlier, I really wanted Matt Reeves's The Batman car on my shelf, but with the size of these things, it was not gonna fit. I'd have a shelf that was sticking out too much from the wall. It'd also then start to dip and one day maybe fall off. But with this base, it makes it possible for me to fit this onto a wall since it's at an angle. And so I really just thought getting this would be the perfect spot right under the Back to the Future hoverboard. It's up there and it looks freaking fantastic, man. If some of you are wondering, Chris, that's such a beautiful car, why don't you just put it right there instead of the Iron Man helmets? Well, another thing I wanted to keep in mind when building the set is with today's day and age, YouTube Shorts and TikTok has just become a daily part of my job. So with that in mind, I'm trying to keep a good window of stuff that's going to show up on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. YouTube will always be my preferred platform, my bread and butter, but short form content like that gets millions of views sometimes, so I also want to have a presentable set for that too. But okay, with that done, we are now in the home stretches, boys and girls. That little window up there, eureka, I had an idea of what to put up there. Some of you might hate me, but I think it's gonna look fantastic. So I'm gonna do that last. For now, let me just fill in the rest of that top shelf. And there we go. Put up some horror collectibles on that top shelf. Another good reason I wanted to switch the red lighting from over here to over there. And after really taking some time and think and wondering what could even go up on that window that would make sense, should I just honestly cover it up and paint that wall and pretend it's smooth? But I'm like, no, I got this window for a reason. I have to use it. So the first idea I had, and the reason I have the Child's Play 2 Jack-in-the-Box underneath the window, is my Chucky doll up there. As luck would have it, he fits perfectly up there and looks pretty awesome just kind of on its own, but I was still bugged by the white outlining of the window. So that's then where I had a monstrous, evilish idea that, oh, some of you are gonna hate. As you may know, with that Chucky figure, you get an also one-for-one replica of the box. And you're like, oh, Chris, we're not gonna hate that. Put the box up there, it's actually gonna look cool. It doesn't completely fit. I mean, width-wise, it's absolutely perfect. Like, it fits on the width. It is just too tall for the window. And so the solution I have to fix that, because I think it'd be cool to put Chucky in the box, get rid of this plastic film, and kind of have Chucky breaking through the box like he's about to attack you holding a knife. But what I'm gonna have to do is take this expensive, beautiful box and cut it about 2 inches. And I'm just so torn on making that move, because once I do that, it's permanent. And this is a beautiful box. But the thing that's helping me get convinced of this is I own 2 Chucky dolls and 2 Chucky boxes. This one is the stitched up Chucky from Bride of Chucky, while this one is more meant to look like his angry look from Child's Play 2. So even though I'm gonna be really sad to cut up one of these beautiful boxes, I'll be okay because I have another one intact, and that's always all right. Out of the 2 boxes, I think I'm gonna end up cutting this one because this film has a little bit of blood on it. I think that's cool. And the whole thing I'm trying to do is remove the plastic film so Chucky looks like he's breaking out. I'd rather keep this one intact. So you got Save Today box. Handy dandy leveler. Okay, boys and girls, time to perform surgery. Oh, baby. That's 2 inches taken off the box. I feel like you can't even tell. Still looks like a pretty good Chucky box. It squeezes in there pretty tight, which is good because I ultimately want to put a heavy Chucky doll in there, and so it doesn't lean forward and fall. The tight fit will help it stay secure. But now let me remove the plastic and pose the Chucky doll in it. Ooh, posed and sexy. I am loving the way that turned out. After all the struggles and delays, it looks like the set is 95% finished. I just want to see how one thing looks on camera. I really don't like how red lighting just doesn't spread as good as blue light. And then I remembered I have this custom rug that I got done from a fan of the channel. I paid him. He didn't give it to me for free. Some fan. Now, I was happy to pay and support, but I got this for the old streaming setup. I think it could fill in this space nicely and give it a good red glow. Okay, I think that's nice. I like it. It helps balance out more red than blue over here. I also wanted to mention I have everything connected to Wi-Fi outlets, so through the push of a button on an app, I can turn on and off my lights. I also have a desk opposite of the couch, but off view of the main camera, so I can do my editing and live streams. And here we have it, guys. The FIims Studio completed and built. Again, you don't need all this fancy craziness, overloaded stuff like I did. Content comes first. No one's gonna watch me just because of this rad set, although maybe 1 or 2 of you might. At the end of the day, it's just your personality and your content. That's what the people fall in love with. This is mainly just for me. I like walking into a room that feels like, man, my job is fun and awesome. And that helps me stay in an energetic, happy mood to just create some cringy, fun content for you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the set. I'm sure I'll change some small details here and there, but this is what I'm going with from now on. I love your beautiful faces, but I've been away from making content too long. I got some videos to record. Take care.